We're dreamers, we're believers, reaching for the stars, yeah. With AI by our side, possibilities endless and bright. There's a future full of promise and it's within.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our Friday cast, everyone. My name is Ekello Harrid. This is the Future Fiction Academy, and this is our Friday live stream. We try to come to you every Friday at 8 p.m. and have a little discussion about plot drive. And we usually do that with my man, Jay. How are you doing today, Jay?
What's up? Before you introduced me like that, I was gonna be like, I'm Elizabeth Ann West. And I think if you let me get away with that, I would have been able to pull one over on everybody.
Yeah, that won't happen.
What's up, audience? What's up, authors? I imagine everybody is an author. If you're not an author, you're going to be.
Oh, yeah, you are.
After this session, we're going to inspire you to start writing and finish a book really fast. What's up, Kimberly? What's up, Mandy and Jonathan?
Ooh,
what's up,
yeah.
Matthew and Daniel? And
oh, my goodness. Welcome, everyone. They just popping off right now. We're up to 11 people.
What is everybody writing? What is everybody writing this weekend? What are you working on?
Yes, what is everyone writing this weekend? Throw it in the
stories.
I want to know how about genre? What are you writing? What genre are you writing this weekend? How about that? That'll make
What's up, Mark?
Nice to see you, Mark. Nice to see you, Bloomstone. Nice to see you. Nice to see you, Daniel, Matthew, Mandy, and Jonathan's crew. Kimberly, Gordon, how you doing? Daniel, how you doing? All right, so
Daniel's writing sci-fi. Kimberly, epic fantasy. I'm reading. I am. Oops, I keep accidentally hiding the comments. I'm reading one of the great, like I read the 5th book in the Stormlight Archive, and then I was like, I need more epic fantasy. So now I'm reading I'm on the 3rd book of the Live Ship Traders trilogy by Robin Hobb, and it's incredible. It's like this pirate fantasy about these sentient ships who come to life after 3 generations of a family die on their decks.
Wow, that's actually intense. That's really intense, actually.
It's incredibly good. It's like the really amazing characters and compelling drama.
Hey, Kimberly, I appreciate the acknowledgement that I've been growing this sucker out, because I've got a lot more gray in it than I used to have. So it took a while for it to actually look like I was growing it out for a while, but it's pretty thick in there in your face. You got stash all over the place. Oh, let's see here. Middle grade fantasy. Yay, the fantasy. Sci-fi, epic fantasy. I'm writing right now. You're writing right now. Why don't we talk about your writing right now, Jay? Why don't we talk about what in the world you are doing? What are you doing right now? Tell me about your 5 fantasy.
So I've been working on this. For those of you who haven't, come to these streams or seen the ones where I've been working on it. Been working on this dark urban fantasy novella about sort of wildfires caused by the awakening of ancient dragons, and an ash collector and his brother and his ex-girlfriend, his estranged brother, and his relationship with his loyal cinder dog, as they have to come together and deal with the awakening of one of these dragons as it threatens to destroy their hometown. And so I'm like 3 drafts in with Plot Drive, and I'm working on improving like the last couple of chapters in the ending, and I had a the I had a interesting like serendipitous experience yesterday
Oh,
where
yeah. This is your deep research problem thing that you did ended up doing, right?
yes, although
Um,
I have to call out like Mandy and Jonathan are reading The Way of Kings right now, and like you're in for a reading experience of a lifetime. That 11 out of 10. Anyway,
literally cannot tell you how good it is because it's so good.
it is one of the greatest like fictional narrative immersion experiences you could, if you like fantasy, you could ever um experience. Anyway, yesterday I was at a technology event in Los Angeles. I got to hear like the uh CEO of Boom Supersonic speak, which was really inspiring. They just broke the sound barrier on civilian supersonic flights
Yes, I
where
saw that.
you
No,
can't.
and no boom.
No boom, right? They
That's the
showed
point, y'all. That's the point. No
the
boom.
physics of the way they go at Mach like 1 to 1.3, the sound waves, because they have real time weather computers that apparently like the speed of sound moves differently depending on the weather outside, and so they monitor the weather and keep the plane flying at certain altitudes. So what it does to the boom is it sends it downwards, but then it curves up into outer space instead of being audible on the ground. So there's a boom in outer space, but you can't hear it on the ground. Anyway, they're gonna have like supersonic, like United and American put down payments. They're gonna have supersonic flight in the U.S. from like you go to LA to New York in 2 hours in 2029, which is nuts.
And it won't be exotic or crazy like the Concorde, which had been literally running since the 60s or something like that, and never getting an upgrade and all using the same bodies that I mean, it was. I'm very happy that we get this. How long is it going to take to get across to?
4 hours to Europe. Good evening, Lois.
Oh, that's really
Military, I
nice.
mean, Ekello military is great. I mean, Ekello's writing,
Uh,
military inspired sci-fi.
yep. I am actually. I'm. I guess we can get to. Actually, why don't you tell me before we get further into what I'm doing? You were talking about how you had to do some stuff and you had to use deep research. Why would you have to use deep research?
Yeah, so back to my story. So the Boom CEO kicked off this event, but there was a talk about the state of the art in wildfire fighting technology. They had a captain of the like Orange County Fire Department who
No
commands
way.
like a dozen battalions or whatever you call them. They had the guy who created the Watch Duty app, which is how everybody in Los Angeles was able to monitor real-time data on where the fires are. It's like a nonprofit app. And they had a guy who's investing in startups to deal specifically with wildfire. And so I learned a lot about like the state of the art in robotics, about how they have these automated robots and drone projects that are using new kinds of like fire, like gels and fire extinguisher
Yeah.
types of emissions to slow the fire or clear vegetation. But they kept saying, like, the key is defensibility and survivability. Like there's almost like nothing you could do to stop this. Nothing that you could do to stop these fires, to stop Mother Nature. And I had like I just had the thought like, but what if you could? Like what if you, because I'm writing a fantasy story about uh these two sects of magic firefighters basically inside an organization called Emberwatch. One are the Ashbinders, and they use ash to like ancient magic to deal with the dragon fire. and another are the pyrotechs, and they use modern technology to deal with the fire, and they work together. And so I was like, I could, if somebody lights a candle, I could put it out instantly by just squeezing the flame.
Yep.
So like we're living in an era where like Microsoft's inventing quantum computing, and there's biotechnology. And so ChatGPT has released Deep Research, which is an agent, and then it's also available in Grok 3. They have a version, Perplexity has a version. I think ChatGPT is the best, where it will go out and do deep internet research for you, and compile like a serious research report, like a long, well-sourced research report. It takes about 5 minutes for it to work. So you run it, and then you watch
I
the.
don't know. I don't feel like that. That's way too slow.
I felt that too. I was like, this is so slow. Because actually,
But
I wanted to ask a question like, what about plasma physics? Like, I knew nothing about it, but I had the thought like,
after you had already sent the search off.
yeah, exactly. I typed into Deep Research, like, how would you deal with wildfires in a way that could stop them instantly using biotech, synthetic, like, are there any kind of synthetic technologies that could like change the molecular structure of fire and stop it immediately? Like, what could be done? And then, Deep Research went out, but
Ooh,
I wanted to like raise my hand and be like, what about this? And
that sounds like a lot of fun research.
super
Sounds like
fun.
you're. I mean, like I'll give you a good example. So Jay's working through his third iteration of his book. He's moving forward with it. As you can see, he has the nugget of what the actual universe. He has the universe floating in his head as a entity now. It is a separate little set of neurons that are just sitting off there to the side, and that's all they do is think about fires and ember dogs and all of that stuff, right? I have a universe sitting in a little nugget and a bunch of neurons called the jump box universe. And the more you know how the more you work on a thing, the more solidified, the more sure you are of the things that are in your universe and things that aren't in your universe. You know that feeling?
Yeah.
All right. I am very similarly having that feeling right now where I am working on the jump box universe, but I keep coming back to these periphery stories that so I thought to myself, I was reading this series of books and there's this scoundrel, but he's a good guy. Kind of pirate, but I mean, like, was in charge of a big pirate base, but wasn't really in charge of a big pirate base. It's more for like, you know, it's the criminality of squatters as opposed to smugglers or
Okay.
traffickers. Okay, to the point where he hates pirates. He killed the pirates, got them all out of there, and moved all his people in. Is basically the mayor of this incredibly beautiful, incredibly secret base that nobody had visited for years, and he just kind of took over because the pirates had taken it over, and he killed all the pirates. So I wanted a character like that. I wanted a guy who had all the right morals, who was from Earth, but who had nothing to do with the jump box people. And so because those kind of assets come in handy really well later on in books. Sometimes you get 3, 4, 5 books in, or maybe a whole episode of your series is dedicated to that really cool character that you built up in a different book, and you bring him in to, I don't know, save the day because he has a bunch of resources and he's really powerful in the universe. And how in the hell how any of that even happened? And the military ends up having to getting a whiff of what he's doing out in the universe, and that whole thing where he's been out there for 10 years because his grandfather left him a jump box. So the mechanism in my universe, it's very much like Stargate SG-1. But instead of a big chopper eye, a big circular gate that you walk through, it is a little, this is perfect. It's a little 3-inch by 3-inch cube, right?
Yep.
That size. And you carry it around. And this is a little, like one of those little heat printer things where you, or a monitor or something. Actually, it's a blood pressure monitor. All right. So the fun things that you find in your house when you're over 50. So, but it's about 3 inches by 3 inches, and you carry it around. It's emerald green, has a bunch of hieroglyphs all over it, and a green button. And the green button is the activation button, sends you to another planet. Specific coordinates on another planet. Great way to jump from one planet to the other. Hence, the first person that goes out into the universe with it that we know of coins it the jump box. And so therefore it's called the jump box. Well, once the military figures this out, they want to take expeditions out, and they are mandated by the president of the United States to go out and find technology and bring it back in order for it to benefit humanity. Now, that is pretty much Stargate, but to have a person out there, an entity, a person who's because he's been out there for 10 years and because he has some access to weird resources and everything because of his grandfather. His grandfather was an old military guy and had found a jump box in a castle during World War II when he was liberating a village. And they went to clean out this castle where all the Nazis were. And as they cleaned out the castle, he found this little green box, and everybody was taking stuff, so he took that home. It wasn't until like a year or so later that he even fiddled around with it and transported his ass to another planet, a whole nother planet. And at the time, some people were trying to take over this ship that was floating, and the Allfathers were defending it, and he went on the side of the defenders. Right. And saved the ship, but everybody else died. In the end, he finds out that there's a little AI in there, and it helps him get back to Earth. He keeps the secret. And it's a great story because when he dies, he leaves the, contents of his house to his grandson. Not his son, because the son's a deadbeat, gambling, degenerate gambler who is nothing but thinks about nothing but predatory things. So Keenan, who is the main character, is determined not to either one become his father, or two, I know, baby, you're gonna get you will get your food. You will. Your mama's gonna get it for you, but it's not gonna be me today. I'm sorry. I've got a live stream. Sorry, Gracie. And so I'm working on this. Oh, Grace. Thank you. I'm working on
Danny, you've walked into Ekello's story world. Yeah, continue, and then I want to take some comments.
But so the idea for this new story is to create that swashbuckler. He's ex-special forces, went into the military because of his grandfather. Grandfather dies. He helps clean up the grandfather's place, finds the jump box, doesn't believe it's real, hero's journey sort of thing. Doesn't believe it's real, denies it is real. And then it comes back to it and presses a couple of buttons, gets scared by it, and has to think about it for another couple of days. But he has this passion and this he's had bad luck for a couple 3 years since he's been out of the military. So he's had bad luck. And he didn't feel like he should be expendable anymore. He just didn't. So he wanted to create a business of his own, become more than he was. And none of it ever worked. So this moment that he gets scared, he decides he has to make a heartfelt decision on whether he believes his grandfather and he's about to go to another planet. Could you imagine finding something like that and trying to figure out whether or not this is a fictional story that your grandfather made up and just had a prop made at a prop shop or something like that? Or is this real? And to find out that it's real, that's the journey that I want. The journey that I want is him realizing that nothing on earth really is worth staying there for, and that all of his destiny is in the stars. And so I build this whole story, his father's conflict. He ends up paying off I've got a deep novella, 30,000 word novella. Probably, it's really probably going to turn into a novel, but don't tell nobody. And so the idea for me is to build up all of these different parts of the universe so that when people do find the main series, they can go, oh, I can read other stuff in the universe. So my whole idea is that I want them to be into the Stargate SG-1 part of it, not necessarily the adventure, the sci-fi adventure part of it. I want the military sci-fi part of it. I want them to get involved with that. And then when they find that, realize that it's much more of a rich universe and lots of stories happen outside of the, episodic television that I'm going to be writing. That is the main part of the series. I have a idea of doing 15 books in a row.
So it sounds like you could use the deep research agent.
I know. I do wonder though with science fiction, it does. I mean, yours is based in reality. You're completely basing yours in reality. Mine, I got magic gravity plates and
I guess. Well, I have magic too. I guess my point on deep research is like why I did it and then how I'm using it is like I just feel like in any story like it depends on what, like, are you going hard sci-fi or are you going more of like a romp and hitting the tropes? Like the more realistic you can make it, like the more it's like energy transference. It's like Hemingway with the iceberg theory. Everything under the surface is there, but you only show like the very top, but it's felt by the reader. Like the more it's very clear, the more you've thought it out, the more immersive it can be. And so I don't know how much I'm going to use of deep research, but I feel like it's like a inspiration machine, right?
mm-hmm.
I just want to comment on some comments that have gone while you've been sharing junk box so we can address them.
Please.
Wow,
look at this. This is popping off right now.
Popping off. What's up, everybody? Okay, so Lois, the lag that we're experiencing in Plot Drive on Tuesday, we pushed fixes to address some memory leaks. So I'd say try again. It is something that we're still working on, especially for like certain devices might experience it. We're going to be continually pushing more and more optimizations. So like if anybody's using Plot Drive and it's at all not like incredibly fast and snappy, or it is fast and then suddenly it starts to get slow over the course of a long session, or if you start making a bunch of buttons, or if you make a bunch of documents or have a bunch of projects, please, you could email support@plotdrive.com, use the help chat in the bottom right, and or contact us on Discord. Like whenever we're getting any reports, it's just like goes to the top of the, let's fix it, let's improve it. So yeah, I'm hopeful that it's either solved or we'll continue to get better very, very soon.
Lois right here says that the writing sci-fi, writing military sounds boring compared to the things we're doing. Look, everybody has a different type of imagination, and if this is your very first military sci-fi, I mean, if you've written before, then you understand that it's all a process. If you have not written before, can I tell you it's all a process? Okay, so it's like I said to you before, we are holding these universes in our brains. You know, that's exactly what we're doing. We're creating these things, and they're becoming these nuggets. You know, hey, how about this? Have you ever considered a site where you distribute? Amazon's been up to some new tricks apparently, and you have a built-in clientele.
I think, I mean, I considered like I've very interested and thought a lot about like just the book publishing industry as a whole and how broken it is. And
Yeah,
we've got a lot of experience in book marketing and publishing as well, and using AI to help fuel that. I think right now we're just focused on like building the best software to help you write good books fast using AI, customize your own workflow tools, and be able to deliver high quality books that you have control of the voice as consistently as possible. I think like the, building a distribution side would be a whole other focus. And I think the only way I could ever see us like embarking on that is if we saw some way that was clear to bring authors readers, to help them make more money than they could currently make on Amazon. And I just don't
yeah.
see like a viable way to
I
do
wish.
that yet. Like it's still best to like build an audience for your ebooks on Amazon, whether
Yeah,
you go on Kindle Unlimited or you go wide, and like learn how to craft a great product that satisfies readers on Amazon, and build a following, build an email list, and learn the art and science of building that list, direct marketing to that list, and also ad buying. And sort of once you get to a certain level of revenue and you become like a 6 to 7 figure author, like once you're hitting that milestone with a big enough backlist, you can start scaling up your business and going, we've worked with authors who go direct to their readers with Shopify, and they sell them book bundles, and they run ad campaigns on like
yeah.
collector's sets or for Kickstarters of limited edition. Now, I think there's a world in which like that could all be in one place. And I've definitely thought a
It's
lot
just
about,
it's the profit thing. It's like in order for the business to stay a business, it needs to have some profit. It needs to return and invest on be an return on investment. The reason that Kindle has become the reason that Amazon has become basically the only one who sells ebooks at a profit, is because of their economies of scale for their physical books, but then also their economies of scale because of their AWS offerings and stuff like that. They have all this infrastructure and everything already built up. It's difficult to spin something up like that as an individual company, as a small individual company, and try and compete against Amazon. They just end up buying you.
yeah, I mean, I think if you look at just the economics of being a publisher, how to be a successful
Yeah.
publisher, like it's very most like the traditional publishing industry is built on like a venture capital model where almost all books lose money for them except the celebrity books or like reprints of Lord of the Rings or Dr.
Hmm.
Seuss books. Like they return a lot, or the Onyx Storm or Rebecca Yarros, the her series, the Fourth Wing.
Hmm.
Like now and then they have like a Twilight-esque phenomenon that has huge returns, but by and large, all books lose money, and so they're spending they're funding authors with these advances just on the, on the bet that one returns all the losses. And I think like it's also
It's
very,
like
very
venture capitaling books.
that's what it is. And I think it's very difficult, even in the traditional publishing companies, they're under resourced in terms of marketing. They've been pushing the marketing off on the traditional authors. Some agents won't even read your won't even read your book unless you have a social media following of above a certain size. And so like it's gatekept and kept in this other way that's different from self-publishing. But the thing is, they're, in
I'm
my view,
always all right. I'm always confused on that. Why in the world do they think that we need them if we have a social media following that's a certain size?
Well, it's not that they don't it's not that they think that they need them, it's that the authors want them, because the authors want an editor, they want a cover designer, they want the resources and the infrastructure of feeling like they are a traditional author, that they're going to go into the bookstores and have
But
a physical copy on shelves.
there is a certain level that you could get to as an independent author where it just seems like diminishing returns, especially if you've got your systems built. By that point, you selling 3,000 books a year. Okay. That's pretty good living. 3,000 books a year.
I think, yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I do think, from talking to traditional authors, I think the major difference is like the self-publishing world is kept in a different way, in that there is no gatekeeping, and the gatekeeping is like it really favors the entrepreneur author. So if an author just wants to be a writer, and they don't like the idea of building their own business, is just no way.
Terrifying.
Yeah, terrifying. Like they're not suited to that, or they just don't have that type of grit and determination. Then I think they're just like taking the poison the other way, and they're like, well, I'm just going to deal with this frustrating experience of never selling enough books, or never really being satisfied with what my publisher really gives me, and learning that over a long period of time.
Look at this question. This is a very interesting one.
Are we trying to sell Plot Drive to the military?
Could you explain that to us, Lois? I don't understand what you mean. We're trying to sell this Plot Drive to everybody.
If there's all, I mean,
I don't understand. I just don't get it. Yeah.
If the military has a writers group, for sure, and I bet they do, that would be really fun. The military likes AI. I think I'll sum up my thoughts on publishing. I think there could be a model. Lois was like, it sounds more like gambling. Investing is basically gambling, like educated gambling. I do think there could be a model in the publishing
stock market
that was less about trying to like cover everything and have a few books return the entire investment, but like plus a lot more, to being much more like strategic. Marketing is very hard, and it's very hard to figure out how much to invest in marketing a book in order to be profitable, or to invest in marketing a book series in order to be profitable. Your investment as a publisher is de-risked if the author is producing a long series and audiobooks that come along with it, because the way it makes money is you hit the first book in the funnel, and then a certain percentage of readers love it and they continue on. And every book that continues on returns more royalties. And so if a publisher was well capitalized and was able to make a lot of different bets in different niches that are traditionally covered maybe by self-publishing and authors who can go into these niches, you could have a viable publisher that does not need to only hit like a huge return on one or two books, but could have steady profits on a large portfolio of smaller books.
I just have a friend who writes these amazing books. And he's with a traditional publisher, and he just never seems like he gets any traction. He's got kind of a little like a Jack Reachery kind of guy, and he just doesn't get any traction, and his books are so excellent.
Yeah.
And I think that it is honestly because trad publishers don't have the time. They're trying to make a profit, and running a book business is expensive. it's just
Yeah, they have like
logistically an expensive thing to do.
they have like one. They usually have like one person responsible for marketing like 5 to 10 books at once or something like that. Like, and they might be doing other jobs too. So like they're very under leveraged. The marketing person doesn't real like every book require, especially in today's world, requires a very different like amount of marketing resource and a very different kind of campaign. And it changes very fast. Like the trends change fast, and you never know exactly what is going to hit, especially with Book Talk and BookTube. Like you never really know what's gonna hit the pulse. And so like they're just kind of they're not making really good marketing investments. That's why they are outsourcing it to the authors, because they're like, we don't know, and it costs us too much money. And so like nobody, like if anyone's gonna figure it out, hopefully it's you.
All
In
right.
any
So,
case,
well, but that's why we have things like the Future Fiction Academy and Plot Drive that helps you whether you're an entrepreneur, book owner, or not, helps you figure out these weird kind of esoteric things about the publishing industry. If you are interested in if you're interested at all in learning about all of this stuff, because we talk about everything in the academy, then please go over to the Future Fiction Academy and find out about, the standalone classes that we have, the idea that maybe at some point we might have some type of beginner school for people who are just wanting to learn how to do AI. So please, if you want, please go there and take advantage of our classes. We have free classes. We have standalone classes that you can purchase, including a ton of classes that are still on half price today for I think I'll give you an example. Like the romance outlines with AI is usually $249, but until the end of today, it is with the code VDAY, it's $124.50. Everything I think is there's a bunch of stuff, not everything, a bunch of stuff that is half off over there. And if you really like what we're about to do, because I'm going to show you some of my workflow, and Jay's going to show you a couple of things inside of Plot Drive too. If you are interested, this man right here, he works at plotdrive.com. They build one of the most comprehensive and premier apps that you could possibly have to use artificial intelligence in your creative workflow. So go over to Plot Drive and figure that one out, because we want you here. And every month, the Future Fiction Academy gives you one comprehensive course each month. By the end of this year, you'll have 12 really detailed, wonderful courses that will help you become a better author today, tomorrow, and forevermore. All right, everyone. Now we are going to go into I had to pay the bills, everyone. I had to pay the bills. Let's talk about process. And in that talking about process, we're going to be using Claude 3.7 Sonnet. Ladies and gentlemen, we have had ourselves Grok 3. We have GPT 4.5. We have Claude 3.7. And everybody and their sister has deep research. It's ridiculous how many people have deep research going on right now. Anthropic has deep research. You know what? Anthropic, you may not remember this, but last week, Perplexity the search engine came out with a distilled version of the thinking model R1, and instead of it being called DeepSeek R1, it's called R1 1776. And it's a completely stripped down. You can ask away about Tiananmen Square or Winnie the Pooh all you want, and it'll talk you head off about both of those subjects. All right, so Jay, do you want to share or should I share first?
I could share the. I can share the.
I don't know. Can you share? Because you've
Can
got
I
that.
share?
You've got that other thing pulled up, and I don't want you to show test track because that ain't real yet. So
I mean,
don't do it.
But
Don't.
should we?
No, don't.
I want to use it is the thing. Like I want to be able. Maybe I won't share it, but I want to use it to make my butt.
All right, y'all. Look. Okay, so Elizabeth got the plot drive guys onto this interesting way to develop. It is something that they would have never thought of themselves because nobody thinks of this. No developers think of having a select group of people come into a test version of your software and fiddle around with it before it goes out into the public. But guess what happens when you have someone fiddle around with your software before it goes out in the public? It gets really robustly tested to the point where you have exponentially less things that come up as weird bugs that go out like that you would have to get answered like 18 times. Am I wrong on that, Jay? I mean, it's probably helps you a lot.
For sure. Very, very helpful.
Holy crap. Y'all, I mean, we developers do not think of doing it like that. To let people into a program before it smacks of liability. But you know what? There is, as long as you are controlled about it, let only a few people in, power users, people who take it and push it to the max. Which, by the way,
Becca knows, beta users, test drivers.
We over at the FFA, we love to test and break stuff. I mean, we had a meeting the other day where we got to vote on features, and I mean, there was a lot of brisk conversation about things that should happen and shouldn't happen. There is one thing on the roadmap that I'm going to spill the beans on right now. It is the fact that at some point, Plot Drive is going to be a fully functioning editor. And what's so great about that to me, because it's on the roadmap, right, Jay?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't think I'm talking out of turn. That particular thing is like, I mean, he showed me some stuff earlier today, y'all, that we literally cannot show you. If we show
it sure? Are you sure though? Because
Jay, all right, so Jay, let's imagine a world. All right, let me pop my imagination off for you a second, and you tell me whether or not you think that this is a good idea then. Jay, so imagine a world where you show all these people these nummy little things that you are about to do, and for some weird reason, they have to be changed in a fundamental way that's completely different than what you showed. Now, how do you think that all those people who expected that thing to be that thing are going to feel like when they get that thing and that thing ain't that thing?
I think they're going to love it. I think the audience is going to love it. The audience is
all right.
With the amount that we've built this hype.
I'm just using my imagination as the devil's advocate. And if you say that you think that it's going to be all right, that's why I gave you the scenario.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know, because what we're building on Test Track, for one, is built on talking to a lot of authors about the problems that you have with understanding how to make buttons, being able to deploy buttons to different projects, like how to use them in
show it, aren't you? You're going to show it.
Elizabeth's not here, and
He's gonna show it. Okay, everybody. All right. Oh my gosh, we've got
Let's
like
get into
18
Plot
comments.
Tribe.
I flipped over to the other thing and we've just like popped off on the comments. So 20,000. What is this? What does everyone say? Web dev is okay. Adaptable resilient. Okay. No one's saying anything crazy. I was over on another page. I was like, oh my gosh. All right, y'all. So this is what we're gonna do. Jay's going to show you a developer environment. Okay, it's called Test Track, and you don't have this stuff. This is experimental. It might not be this stuff when you get it. It might look different. It might act different. As a matter of fact,
it's not even on Test Track yet. It's only on my computer right now, and it will be on Test Track next week. But
okay, you see what I'm saying, y'all? Okay, all right. So this isn't even on Test Track yet. This is completely dev'd up.
Let me
all right,
share
Jay.
my screen.
And
I'm
do it
just
right.
gonna show you. I'm gonna
like,
work
do it
on
right this time, Jay. Do it right. Sharing your screen.
I've done it.
Yay!
Right. You see Ashwalkers,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
All right. This is my normal plot drive, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to switch between two plot drives. The other one's the special one's going to be white.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to show you why I want to use it as I'm working. So here's my outline. I need to work on like improving, let's say, chapter 7.
Yeah.
And like, I've also got this deep research report on emerging technologies for wildfire suppression and wind control. Let me go in closer.
Wow.
And this came from deep research.
Mm.
And then I've got this other report on like new magic based on that I created out of that.
And you created this in a folder.
Yep. It's in my outlines folder now, which is not great organization, but I just want to get a sense of like, okay, I like this plasma suppressors and veils.
You know, and my workflow is that if I'm working through the thing, I just have a folder called development. And until I get, you know what I mean? Until I can get to the point where I can like really hardcore write chapters, I just put every friggin' thing into development or I just start a development folder and just start putting creating documents and not thinking about anything else until I have to start breaking it out. And, as each document is created where you go, okay, it's time to do some character sheets, or okay, it's time to do some lore, or okay, it's time to do, and then you can start breaking out those things. But otherwise.
Okay.
All
so we're in chapter 7 and I'm like, I need to make this better somehow. And one of the things that I want to focus on in this session is injecting more realism into like the magic system and the technology. So I need a button. And I need to like, let's think about what the button should do. It's like probably like revise something and inject some magic or whatever. So now I'm going to one moment. I'm gonna switch over to the developer version and show you how the new experience of making buttons. Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay. You might notice some changes on the sidebar coming, and I think I need like a editing button, so I'll make it right here, and it comes in the line. We'll call it like inject real magic or something. Okay, new editor experience. I'm gonna add a tooltip up here.
Hey, let's slow down here. All right, everybody, if you look at this screen, you'll see that not only does the screen kind of look a little differently, but if you touch certain things, things can change. So now you can change button colors right in the button page. You can hit the question mark for me, Jay.
Well, the question mark won't yet work.
Right. But it should give an example of what the actual prompt is, right?
No, I'll take you through these one at a time. I'll show you how
Thank you.
this
Thank you.
works. So firstly, you can hide the variables if you just want to write some ideas in here, or you can show them. This is the magic though, AI assistant. So for one, if you didn't have any ideas for buttons, you could click Inspire Me and it will come up with an idea for you. We already know we need to revise text and add some deep realism from my magic system to make the experience more immersive without using cliched language and keeping the prose and pace moving. This is for the revision of like 1 to 3 sentences max, not a lot of text. So these are just like me brain dumping, right? And I've got what do I have plugged in? I just have OpenAI here, but it'll use any AI model you have, and then you can click generate prompt, and it will give me a prompt. And so
it says ensure the immersion of the magic system in the following text by adding deep realism. Avoid cliched language while maintaining the prose and pace. Selected words. So whatever you select. Use this context for style and consistency. Active documents. So anything before. So if you have anything clicked on. And then it has an instruction box so that you can do a dig deep sort of like refined sort of thing about that particular text. I mean, saying that it's too verbose, not verbose enough. The prose are crappy. Do better.
yeah. So if I don't like this, and I say like, let's go into detail, like step by step, to make this 5-step prompt and detail your chain of thought or something like that.
Hey, have you heard about this new thing, chain of draft?
I haven't heard chain of draft.
Chain of draft, instead of using the entire, I'm going to use the word verbose again. The verbose sort of long-winded thought process where it goes back and forth and goes, oh, maybe I shouldn't do that. Oh, well, I should do that. You know, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of doing that, it does like what we did when we prepped for the show today. What did we do? I just wrote some notes down, and very, very, very kind of sparse notes, meaning
Sure.
deep research, 3.7 demo, Ekello novel. Remember all of these things? I didn't write a lot of stuff, and it got a 95 with the regular chain of thought, and it got a 91.
Oh, interesting.
Chain of draft. And chain of draft is not training. It is prompting.
Interesting.
Yes. So Matt Berman, you know who he is, Matthew Berman, the YouTuber. He did a video today. So Jay, you're going to want to go over and check that out because
I will check it out.
Yeah, it seems like a very interesting way to prompt a language model when you want to do something very interesting, like, I don't know, plan a novel. So it does feel like it has some context for us. Okay, now everybody, look at this. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 friggin' steps. That is wow.
So this helps you if you don't want to think about what variables to add or where add them, or to just get some AI assistance. It helps you like that. You can just easily hide it. And if you
So
like,
you built Stephanie's thing into Plot Drive.
yeah, I talked to Stephanie about how she built her typing mind thing, and then we actually sort of developed the prompt with just like a better knowledge of our code base and how these variables
Wow.
work, and showed some examples of like what authors are finding good plot drive prompts. And so it understands like how to use the variables or when to not use the variables. But the last thing I'll show is this question mark now. So if you're like, I still don't understand plot drive's prompting, but
Yeah.
or like somebody shared a prompt with you and you want to try it out, and so you bring it into your project, or with the button library, you'll be able to
Mhm.
just one click install it. Once that's live, that'll be coming after this.
Someone's requesting
The
that you make the actual magic system document once you're done.
Yeah, I've got that in the other one. I'm gonna copy paste this into my real project, because I'm not gonna write in here because this is the only I only came here actually because I wanted to use this so
Yeah,
I can
you
just
wanted to
make
build the button.
I wanted to make the button without having to think about where to put the stuff.
I know. This is so powerful. It's kind of like what I told you with the find and replace. It's just like a fundamental thing that you probably should have inside of Plug Drive. This is so slick to be able to build these on the fly like this. All right,
It's gonna be
so
faster, but then I think so. So my point is, we've got this question mark, and now, so if
mhm.
you want to understand how these prompts work better, or somebody gives you a prompt and you're like, I don't understand what this does or how it's meant to pull my content in, I think it'll be useful for newer authors who are getting the hang of like how to develop workflows. You can click generate prompt explanation, and it will explain sort of like what this is meant to do and what these variables actually mean. And so our hope is, by refining this, we can start to like kind of get out of authors' way and just like let them be unblocked by their own creativity and understand better like when to use this stuff to
Look at
pull
this. Look at
in their
this.
content.
All right, so you ready? Are you ready, Jay? You ready?
I'm ready.
Can we have it now? Please. This is wicked cool. Oh, please. Let's say we can have this soon. Please, 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 please.
I'm glad you like it. I mean, we built it because
Someone's
we
like, I
felt
see it. I insist.
we heard the pain. I'll say this will be available on Test Track to test for those who want to test next week, and then we'll just get the feedback, and based on the feedback, depending on how much we need to do to really improve it, it should be available very, very soon, like possibly end of next week, maybe the beginning of the following week.
I was gonna say, let's Jay. Why are you doing that to your people?
Well, what I'm doing right now is I'm taking this button and I'm bringing it into my real project, and
Oh, that's awesome. I
I'm
do
gonna
like the
make
fact that we aren't calling it selective actions and those other. It's a little too vague.
yeah.
So
I'm with you.
that's
I think it'll
exciting. That's going to be changed.
Yeah, I think just make it a bit more intuitive, a bit more author friendly, and you
Jay,
can
you want to
kind of
explain how a
ooh,
person can?
interesting.
You want to explain how people can become testers?
Interesting. You could just post in the Discord, like in support
Oh,
or
this is weird.
wherever. I know why this happened, but I just have to it's because we changed to in order to get it to generate those, we changed the way the code works to visualize them.
Mm,
So I need to that's actually a good find. I need to see what it did. Active documents, selected words, instruction box. So
active documents, selected words, instruction box.
yeah, and I just want to also like all the plot drive pit crew members who are in that channel. It's from the FFA mastermind. They gave a lot of really good feedback on the design. So if you look at, the current version currently live on plot drive, these variables are taking up a lot of space, or and you got, this bar that is not that useful. I think now, like, if you can hide all
Yeah.
this, you got a lot more space. Even with the variables, it's a lot cleaner. You can mouse over them and you can see
Yeah.
what they do, and you can also get this thing that explains like what variables even are. So and I used Claude 3.7 thinking to help me build this.
I would use this all the time. I would use this. I would use these buttons. I would use this button builder all the time. All the time. I mean,
that's why I wanted to show it, not because I wanted to hype, not because I wanted to hype it all. That's fun too. I literally just was like, this is gonna be easier and more fun for me to
to do it
improve
if I just
to improve this. And like, let me check out the prompt preview. So yeah, it's got the analyze the selected
uh-huh.
text. Yeah, I mean it looks like
One,
it works
two.
pretty well.
Now, do you need to make an instruction?
Um, let's see. Apply. I don't think so. I think we can try it without an instruction, see what happens. And I've got Claude 3.7 Sonnet, I believe.
Oh wow, and it just bang bang to the bang bang. Huh. I wonder. So
Oh, I did not put
I'm like,
the
what is
right
this?
context in.
Yeah.
So and it's a little bit too long. So actually, so I have my outline. I don't want outline. What I want is, um, I probably want new magic and inject real magic. And then I want to add that instruction. There we go. It added some stuff. He doesn't have a, so what I'm gonna do is probably take both here and I'm gonna be like,
Oh, and it says revised text after. Oh, that's nice.
oh yeah, that is nice actually.
I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, the button came up with that, so that's pretty useful. Or maybe Claude did.
I don't
The
know.
So I want to.
Maybe Claude's a really good button builder. Hmm. My wife's sneeze was very loud just now. Hope y'all all didn't hear that. Where in Discord do you throw in your name?
Support. Yeah, support, because Scott is running support like a madman. And
Sorry, Danny. Danny
the
said he heard my wife sneeze. I'm
and
like,
Scott
yeah.
will be the one to, whitelist, greenlist, however we want to call it, the test track users. So if
Yeah.
you if you have a Plat Drive subscription, you want to test, it'll be available early next week to test, and just post in
Hey,
support.
everyone. Fair warning. If you become a Plot Drive test driver, uh, you're it is precarious. Like with it's a test. It's a test environment. So if I were you, I just be aware that that's a real thing, that it's a test environment. And if something goes wrong and you lose a document or two or something like that, it might happen. Yeah, test equals bugs. I love that. That's very good, Danny. Test equals bugs. Okay, everyone? Bugs. All right. 50 words max. Rowan.
I
Yeah.
think I need to turn on the outline too. I want to turn on the outline so it has a bit more
Context.
context of like what I'm doing in the
Now, this could also
story.
work with like a magic system, right? So you could have like meaning that you could have an entire document that kind of documents the history and lore of the magic system and how the magic system works. And when you need that information, you could just toggle it on if you really had to, right?
Yeah, I mean that's what I've kind of got toggled on with New Magic. It's like basically it's basically got like I built this I built this emerging tech thing from a deep research report
Right.
from OpenAI, from ChatGPT, and then I use it to like essentially combine with my magic system to give
Right.
it more realism and depth.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I've got this basically magic system document for how the two sects in this world work together.
Nice.
Let's make one more button though, just to give more of a show of how this can work. We'll make a writing button. So like, where am I going? I'm going into
You're going into
chapter
your
7.
Aren't you going into your test environment?
Yeah, I just need to know what I want like dialogue that connects two pieces. Like
Did I see now that we have some type of dictation to prose sort of thing?
there is a button, I haven't used it, but
I haven't used it either.
we put it in there for I think the purpose is if you have like a brainstorm of notes, or if you wanted to like dictate your notes directly into a document, you could then run that button and it would turn it into prose for you. And I think that came out of some authors from
That's
from
exciting.
the FFA lab talking about that. But what I want to do here is, so I'm like, this is some world building, this is some dialogue. I want to actually like connect it with some dialogue from Joseph between here. And it's like, I don't know how to do this, but I'm going to ask the button creator to do this. And we're going to make a write button because we're just going to put the cursor there and be like, connect with, let's see, like POV character dialogue.
You want to connect POV character dialogue, or do you want to create more dynamic?
Creates dialogue from the POV character between two sections of text.
Oh, I see. I
And
see.
then
I
I'll
see.
turn this on and be like, need to like insert new dialogue from the POV character Joseph between two sections of text and have it seem natural and deepen the beats of the chapter outline, something like that.
Are you running a Macintosh computer?
Yeah, MacBook Air
And
or MacBook Pro.
you must have upgraded to AI to have the AI, because it's pulling up things ahead of time and stuff on you. That's pretty
Oh,
cool.
interesting.
Mine
So
isn't doing that yet because I haven't updated it.
here we go. Now, so this one I just know because there's more. Yeah, I mean, I guess this could be okay with words after. Actually, I want to actually see it. We're gonna try to make a maybe better version of this. So I'm gonna keep this one here. It should only reference the immediate section of text that comes right after, though, like, and seamlessly connect the reader's thoughts between the last idea in the first section and the first idea in the next section.
All right, so Lois, the tooltip is to show people who are using the button what it does. So when you hover over the button when it's in the main document and you highlight something and it pulls up the thing of buttons. The reason that it's different is because inside the toolkit it just shows you what it does. Inside the AI assist, it creates a thing from your idea, whatever your small idea to create a button is.
Yeah,
So,
I'll show you that in action. So if we I'm gonna take this to copy over and then but if we went here, we could see this button, and now if I mouse over it, it shows that tooltip. Showing two tooltips actually, but yeah, that's the idea. So you can add a tooltip to help you remember what it does when it's on screen
say
like
you build
this.
6, 7, 8, 10 buttons and you start naming them weird esoteric things, you might just need a little toolkit help, a little
All right.
description.
So we're
Yeah,
back.
yeah, it's a short description. We were so I'm going to use the word one more time. We're sorry we were so verbose in our answer. It is literally just a short description.
So this one was words before, this one is words after, and this one was active documents.
Yeah, because I always need more dialogue and better dialogue.
Yeah, and this is just something that I kind of was like, oh, like Joseph should have a thought about this and react to it. And so just to show you what I might expect here or what would be a good result, his brother, who he's been, in this deep conflict with the whole story, is going to destroy this or he wanted to destroy this fledgling, which is trying to bond with its mother, and it's going to unleash like a giant dragon awakening that they're going to have to confront. At first he wanted to kill it, and now he's got this weapon that's been newly introduced that can neutralize it without killing it. And so he's like, now what I want is Joseph to react to this bringing out of this weapon with some dialogue. So let's see and let me just make sure that it's bringing in. So it's bringing in the words before, it's bringing in the words after, and it's reading. I don't think we need, well, we'll keep on new magic just in case. Why not? We're running Claude 3.7 Sonnet. Let's go.
Lois is asking, how do we recall, like, find buttons we had created a long time ago? You just have to go into your old whatever old document you have, and then go look inside that document, because wherever you created the button originally, especially when you have 200 buttons after 3 months on plot track. For 200 buttons, that's excessive. That's excessive. We need a search buttons feature.
Yeah, I mean, I need to give like it a word count limit, which I like to do in the prompt, but you could also do in the output. Because what it came up with first was too long. We're working, so we're gonna have a great search feature for the button library or the prompt library, whatever it ends up being called. But your ability to just very quickly like keep track of everything and deploy them to whatever projects you want, and share them too. So
Just so y'all know, you ain't seeing that today, but I got to see it. I got to see the prompt library. It looks pretty. It's a little janky right now, but it looks pretty.
So I don't love this, but I'm going to take it because it definitely fills what I needed.
And is this a selection or a generation button?
That was a generation, or we're going to call them writing buttons, basically.
Wait a minute. Was there an instruction for the generation button?
No.
Okay, cool. I thought I was like getting confused there for a second.
Some people have asked for that though, and I think definitely something that we're thinking about. Like, you can do it in the prompt. It's just like it it is interesting if you could just be like, it's a bit clunky though. It's not as nice as being able to just like, oh, I've got my button.
But
I could add it right here.
but you've given yourself the option to add the instruction box. So if you don't really need it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for
you
sure.
don't have to put it in. So
Yeah.
but boy, it can become handy, especially when all right, so say you want to have
Say
that
you
connect
want to
thing.
see the button library? Is that what you said? Does
No,
anyone
I
want to
didn't
see
say that. I didn't say that at all,
the
Jay.
the
All right, everybody, here's the button
so
library.
this firstly just this was a first idea. So
It
this
will
doesn't
not look
even
like this. It will
it,
not look like
well
this.
this yeah, it's gonna look actually way better than this, but I'm going to show you the ideas that we thought through, and then this will be out. It doesn't really work well, so this is more of a just to give you a visual sense of
See, I
what
told
we're.
y'all it's pretty. It's just janky. It's just a little janky. But imagine a not a central repository for buttons, but your repository for
So
buttons.
like I like this story Bible. I have it in my other project. I want to put in this project.
Hmm.
This button is ready to use in your project. It's right there. I like story Bible, like world building, and now I can search. That one didn't say, but like if I search, my creation buttons, I can find those. So like, you kind of get the idea. There's and maybe we'll have some shareability, so you
So
can
you can
share
tag
it.
your own, you can tag your buttons and then be able to search your tags.
Basically, yeah,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
can deploy them to every library, and you can
Hmm.
also be like a public library that you could um, download stuff to, and
So
so
it
yeah,
won't. Uh, will it automatically populate any buttons that you've already built in your documents from all of your
yeah,
from
like
all of your projects?
yeah, we had a yeah, exactly. Like we had a conversation about we're actually gonna in the functional version of this, like so this was my early prototype and I worked more on the AI assist and the prompt editor than I've
Hmm.
done on this. But our like I'm capable at coding, but our best coders are going to build this. And we had a
Yep.
conversation about what we're gonna do technically to achieve this today, and you'll be able to like have collections and then almost like folders, and then you'll be able to just one click deploy a folder of buttons to your project,
Mm.
to any project you have. So the goal is to make it incredibly fast, easy, and intuitive, and give you that ability to just like organize your buttons and put them anywhere you want and easily share them if you want to. So that's that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. You
I'm
know what?
gonna I'm gonna stop my share though, and we'll.
You know what's so cool about the future of Plot Drive is it's limitless. It really is. It's like we're literally only adding in things that people are asking for specifically, you know, and and things that everybody goes, "Oh yeah." How many times did that happen, Jay? Where you're like, "Oh," where you're in a room full of authors, which you are a lot, and somebody makes a suggestion, and literally half of the room goes, "Oh yeah."
Yeah, I mean, I really liked how Scott ran the roadmap thing, which is like getting people to vote, because then it's like, because everything does sound good, but when you have to, put your vote in for like what would be,
Your
oh
top
yeah, like
five.
right now, like
Yeah.
I want that first. Then you start to get like it's a really good synergy between us building, getting feedback, like June's got great feedback here, tabular rather than tile format. Tiles are difficult to scan. Yeah, for sure. Like I think um for one, if you want to test and keep giving feedback, definitely throw your name in the hat. We're going to keep iterating. I think that what I just showed you is like, I know we need a button library. Like authors have two problems. Like they don't really understand the why and how to create buttons and use these variables to pull in their content to help support the superpowers that they need to go fast and maintain control and being able to develop consistent voice working with AI. And then the other side of it is they need just a better way to organize buttons. And so that was, like what I just showed with the button library was very much here's kind of a thought into what we could do, and want to hear like all the feedback. And ultimately, like our whole goal is like make plot drive more intuitive, faster, snappier, easier, so you can stay in flow. And with the button library especially, we want to make sure like when you add a single prompt and like you can make that really fast and be using it almost instantly as a button, we want to make sure that you're not spending a huge amount of time like navigating menus and trying to sort through things. Like we want to be there almost like so intuitively at the speed of author thought, able to give you what you need. And so again, that's like a collaboration between all of us. And the great thing about as like more and more authors are using plot drive, it just gives us more opportunity to have these conversations, talk to you, understand like where are you getting slowed down, like what's confusing, but also like where are you like spending way too many clicks, or you got an hour to write, you can't be spending 10 minutes like sorting through your buttons, like you should be just flying. And so that's always at the forefront. It's like your pain, your problem, and then how do we design something that gets out of your way? Yeah, sortable categories are filterable, sortable into categories. Yeah, great idea. And
Yeah.
also, we'll be running these like as we improve it, we'll be running it on test track, and that way you can play with it. And then it's like it's a lot easier to give feedback too, when you can actually like click on it, see how it works, think about it, think about how bad it is when it is bad. So we just really appreciate that opportunity, and it's very fun for us too. And Kelly, everybody saw, like, I wanted to use it. Like I spent time making that because I like wanted to use it so I could go faster.
So here's a question for you, Jay. This is just a little, sidebar. Uh, do you do a lot of vibe coding? Meaning, do you just iterate and not look at the code and keep going?
I call it what I do sometimes. Well, now, I mean, it depends on what phase I am in uh, of coding. I would say I go on roguelike vibe coding runs, which is like, if anyone knows what a roguelike video game is, it's like a hard mode kind of video game where you basically start from the beginning if you die. If you lose a life, you start all the way at the beginning.
Mm,
Sometimes you have like one power up that comes with you to make it a little easier, but generally like you start from scratch. So it's really hard, and it challenges you. And so I feel like with vibe coding, which for those of you who don't know, it's basically like using the AI to write code for you and sort of directing it, similar to how you might direct like you know if you use the AI to write a lot of prose for you, how you might feel like you're directing the story. And roguelike, so sometimes I'll be like, I'm just going to go on a run and see how it looks in the app. And then I end up with a bunch of nonsensical code that doesn't keep consistency with how we code. It's like for one, it'd be like handing in a bunch of gibberish to the editors. Like I can't let our other engineers see the travesty of code that the AI has generated. But I do learn something about what I think about how this should work, and then I nuke everything and I start from the beginning, and then
oh,
I do it more diligently. I develop a better
diligently
plan,
or deliberately?
deliberately and diligently. I spend more time intentionally developing a plan that works with the way our like plot drive is architected, and then I pay more attention to like as the agent is developing the code, I look at what it's doing and I like double check its work. But listen, I with what I just showed you, from doing too much AI coding, like letting the AI code too much, I went into the depths of hell. Like it was just like
The depths of hell. What
it
is
was
the
just like
depths of hell?
trying like the stuff, the tangled mess that I found myself in that I had to untangle in order to find its way out
Yeah.
and like satisfy Martin and Serjon's review in order to get it actually onto test track was just there was a lot of meditating, a lot of being like, we'll get through this. Like you
I don't know
know,
what you did, but we're gonna get through this together. we're gonna we're all in this together.
yeah.
Oh, I was reading through I was doing a test.
I'm glad you know what it's like, Danny. Lois is like, we need buttons that are preloaded and available to all plot drivers that are more robust for sure. I think one of the things that will be coming with this library is the curation and development of like collections of them that you can, you might have them, might be a military collection if you write military themed books that are useful to authors and have been, pre-vetted and tested.
That is actually very true because in military, sometimes you need nomenclature, you need jargon, you need not synonyms, the ones acronyms. You need acronyms because if there's anything I've learned about writing military, is you better have a couple acronyms in there, at least 3 or 4, 18 or 95 acronyms, because everything they're always trying to be efficient and then cut down efficiency. So it would be nice to have a button that militarize this up, and
Sure.
then you say in the button, you're like, I need more military feeling, military actual people talking back and forth to each other in the military, more military dialogue, more military, you're waking up and everyone is getting ready to do a thing. Make sure it's very military like when it's happening, those sorts of things. Oh my gosh. And I'm telling you, I've learned so much about prompting and building weird prompts and stuff like that because of my work with RaptorWrite and Plot Drive, where you're forced to think about, because think about this 5-step thing that you did, Jay. That was a very interesting thing. So to me, in that context, I should be able to build a button that does 3 things in one prompt, right? So
Yeah.
it does this thing, and then it also looks at the documents that in the past, and then it does another thing. All of this stuff happens in line, and if you wanted to, you could build in a step-by-step moment. If it's just a regular LLM and you wanted to do something specific, you could build in a step-by-step so that you could not have to use as many tokens. So that's an interesting idea. So definitely look into the God, what is it? Reasoning.
Chain of drafting.
Yes. You need to look at that. It's pretty exciting. So it might be very helpful in a lot of ways, especially when you're writing, everyone. You might be able to use less tokens because you don't know how many tokens you're using when you're messing around with a reasoning model. That's for real. And if anybody has any questions and they need help on anything, then or you want to get a standalone class, you want to do anything like that, then please go over to the Future Fiction Academy. We will be every month giving you comprehensive classes. If you have Plot Drive, you have access to comprehensive classes. We have one for February, one building up for March. We have, and maybe 2 for March, depending on how things work. This is a journey. This is a real thing. This is Plot Drive. All right. This is the last day of the month. If you want to, you could go over and use V-Day as your coupon code and pick up any number of classes, standalone classes that we have right over there for you. And sign up for Plot Drive. It is a amazing program that has a very, very bright future. And this man right here, is part of a team that has been an absolute joy to work with. You really have, Jay. Y'all are
right back at you.
This has been a collaboration, kind of a match made in heaven. We're able to really play off of each other's strengths, and it's just making this program so good, so fast. And I mean,
I have given a home tour, Lois. I have given a home tour. I've been feeding the dog. Let's see if he'll come visit.
Oh yes, that's right. I've already had my cat's already shown up, and Dasha's usually made a barking. Oh, there's the doggy, this little so cute little doggy. Oh, the dog's like, please get me out, get me away, no, daddy, no. All right, everyone.
Quick, let me just answer the last question. Do you have a button that captures my style? Yeah, you can make one. Like, I think if you basically had it, you had a button that, I mean, there's two ways to do it. One, you could make a button that reads your chapters and gives you an analysis of your style. And then you could have another button that pulls that in and deploys it, like to revise work in your style or write new text in that style. There'd be a few ways that you could do that. I think the best way though is actually, I know FFA is going to run some classes on fine tuning. The best way to actually get the LLM to kind of write in your style is to fine tune an LLM, create your own model that is your style, and then when you use it, it just writes like you. So because it's just the best, most accurate way to get it to output exactly what you want. It has a better sense of, it's like trained on your own writing, as opposed to it's got its own way of writing and then it's trying to like add on to what it read. So you won't be able to train it in Plot Drive, but there are like lots of services that you can do it, including OpenAI, where you can just do it directly through their API. And then what you can do is, once you have it, you can just bring it into Plot Drive like you bring in any model right now.
Yep, because it works under the API key, and it shows up under your model list because it's your specific model list that it's API keying into to look at your list to see what you have. All right, everybody. I think we are done for the day. I hope that you have all enjoyed this little trip down Plot Drive Lane. We have been having ourselves quite the experience over the past few months. Jay, as I said before, absolutely a wonderful joy to work with you. And ladies and gentlemen, I just want you all to know that this is not over. We will see you next Friday at 8 p.m. And hopefully, actually, Elizabeth might not be back by then, but I will be here. I promise I'll be here. And Jay will be here. We'll both be here.
So, I'm Elizabeth Ann West. Thank you very much for coming. It was a pleasure.
Oh, I know. I've trained my team. Yeah, you're Lois. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Lois. All right, likes. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. All right, everyone.
Happy writing.
Everyone get some work done this weekend. I finished my first novel completely and utterly rewritten and nice and tidy and ready to go to the publisher right now. It's my first novel and it's going off to the publisher right now, ready to go and everything. And Jay is on his third spot. Everybody, this is exciting. We're writing, we're creating, we're doing things. We are very happy that we have been able to help you get your stuff done. All right, everyone. I want you to enjoy the rest of your day. Jay and Ekello saying, I'll see you in class, everyone. See ya. Bye.
A sea of words, but none set free. I've poured my soul, I've carved the lines, but every page, it's like we're trapped in time. My thoughts are tangled, my words so raw. I beg you, please don't make me start over. I need the magic, the edit I crave. Press the button, let the words behave. The editing blues are heavy on my chest. But pressing these keys, I find my rest. Every click, every tap, it feels so right. Awaken the manuscript to the light. Help me break free, set these words in motion. Edit my world with smooth devotion. Fingers trembling.